This is an urgent warning to the whole world. Everything is all coming together just as the Bible prophesied. Bible prophecy is literally jumping off the pages. We have one world government formation, one world religion, the incredible pace and development of the mark of the beast, technologies such as artificial intelligence and chips that are inserted in the forehead, increasing birth pains and wars and rumors of wars. Right now, we just have the Board of Peace that just finished its inaugural meeting, where the United States will dedicate $10 billion to the rebuilding efforts of the Gaza Strip. And Rafah would take approximately 3 years to finish. At the same time, he's saying this board will be able to oversee the peace processes all over the world. Given concerns of some that the board may replace the United Nations, he says that the board may even look over the United Nations, even make the United Nations stronger, and to oversee it. Do you see?
President Trump made significant announcements here at the first Board of Peace meeting on Gaza in Washington, saying that the U.S. would be contributing $10 billion to the board, that the member nations would be contributing $7 billion to reconstruction in Gaza, and that 5 countries, Indonesia, Morocco, Albania, Kosovo, and Kazakhstan, are prepared to send troops and police to stabilize Gaza, with Egypt and Jordan also ready to support a Palestinian police force. A video shown here had flashy images of buildings to be built in Gaza, saying that the goal is to rebuild Gaza in the next 3 years. But there are also concerns about the U.S. military potentially striking Iran, with U.S. officials saying that the military would be prepared to potentially do so as soon as this weekend, and President Trump not downplaying that possibility.
And now is the time for Iran to join us on a path that will complete what we're doing. And if they join us, that'll be great. If they don't join us, that'll be great too. But it'll be a very different path. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
At least 27 countries on the board had representatives there, while other countries like Italy, South Korea, and the European Union were there as observers.
Notably absent are several key U.S. allies like the UK, France, which have opted not to join that group. Well, today's meeting focused on the next steps for the ceasefire in Gaza. And it's happening as U.S. officials say the military is building up its presence there in the Middle East in preparation for a possible military strike on Iran.
The president really laying out a sort of muscular foreign policy, this idea of peace through strength, and saying that these countries were the ones he wanted to look after the future of Gaza. And one of the speakers said that the idea for the Gaza coastline, some 200 hotels, building some 100,000 homes for some 500,000 residents, and also the president pledging that the U.S. would commit $10 billion to the Board of Peace. Now, as you said, this all comes amid the backdrop of escalating tensions with Iran. It's our reporting that the president has not yet made a decision on the next steps in Iran. However, as you mentioned, Morgan and Vicky, the U.S. is sending more military firepower to the region in case the president were to make a decision.
You know, Gabe, we know the United Nations is tasked with handling global crises, diplomatic issues. The president has been extremely critical of the UN in the past. Where does the Board of Peace come in? How does it align, work with, or not work with the UN?
And heading into this, Vicky, that was one of the major questions, right? And as you said in your introduction, it's why many European allies have decided not to participate in the Board of Peace, because they feel that it could undermine the United Nations. Well, the president seemed to acknowledge that a bit. He said some of the countries that were declining to participate may be playing this a little too cute. But he also seemed to suggest, and he flat out said, that he planned that the Board of Peace would look over the United Nations. The Board of Peace would look over the United Nations and perhaps strengthen it. still unclear about how this plays out, but certainly President Trump feels that this is a body, one that he created and he leads, that would oversee the United Nations in some form. But certainly President Trump feels that this is a body, one that he created and he leads, that would oversee the United Nations in some form.
This has huge implications. As you see, one international body recently created that is going to oversee another huge international body, the United Nations. Eventually, it will be a system. Once it's in place, the Antichrist will be at the very top, controlling all the other nations and be able to take control of the whole world, just as the Bible described. Everything is all coming together. At the same time, the U.S. is amassing huge forces there in the Middle East, very near Iran. With the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Group, the USS Gerald Ford is going to be arriving in the region in about 2 to 3 days. The United States could attack and topple the regime at any moment, the Islamic Republic. And that would be a great path forward to peace. Indeed, the world is heading to a false peace, and that would be opening of the first seal by Jesus Christ, where the world will embrace a false peace, where the Antichrist will confirm and make a stronger and existing covenant, which is the Abraham Accords. And that covenant will be 7 years of false peace, allowing the temple to be rebuilt and the daily sacrifices to resume. And right after that, the red horse of war will be the seal, the second seal that Jesus opens, which will be given the power to take away the peace that the rider on the first horse introduces. It is very urgent. After the rider on the red horse, the second seal is unleashed, the seal of war. Then the next seals are famine, pestilences, and the seal of death itself. Seal number 4. 1/4 of the population will lose their lives. The earth is approximately 8 billion people. That would be around 2 billion people that lose their life when that judgment seal upon all the inhabitants of the earth who have rejected Jesus Christ, who are left behind, have to endure death, pestilence, chaos, judgment, among many judgments, including even the trumpet judgments and the vow judgments. There will be sores that go from head to toe. The sun's heat will grow immensely unbearable and killing people with its burning. You have asteroids that pound the earth from all sides. The people on earth will be trying to escape one calamity, one danger, just to head into another danger. There's no escape. The time to be saved is now. All of us have sinned and come short of God's glory. Every one of us, we are all sinners, born in this sinful, fallen world. And unfortunately, because we are sinners, we cannot enter heaven, which does not allow sin. That's why the other place is a forever burning, tormenting hell. And nothing we can do as sinners can qualify us to go to heaven. What we gotta do is put our faith in Jesus. Because we are sinners, we are already under God's condemnation, and we are all headed to an eternal burning hell. But Jesus came in the flesh, and he died on the cross in our place, and he took our sins and died on the cross for our sins. He was buried, and on the third day, he rose again. If you put your faith on him, you have received everlasting life. And when Jesus comes, and he could come at any moment, you would not be left behind. Yes, Jesus is coming in a rescue mission to take all believers home to heaven before the 7-year tribulation. Be saved right now before it's too late. Don't be left behind. As they meet in the Board of Peace for the first time, they are also preparing for war if a deal falls through, which is most likely, as Iran is not interested in curtailing its nuclear warhead ambitions, its ballistic missiles, and its supports and sponsoring of terror all over the world. Now, let me share with you these footages, and we are watching every second. Also, we're going to have footages of the Iranians today, the Iranian citizens commemorating the 40-day anniversary of the massacre of its people, where more than 80,000 people have died by the regime. Also, an amazing speech by Reza Pahlavi, the crown prince, and he is imploring, as all the Iranian citizens are imploring, the United States to intervene and strike, that it would give hope for the people to come out on the streets again when they see help is on their way. With a U.S. intervention, they will be greatly encouraged.
New this morning, President Trump's Board of Peace is meeting for the first time to provide an update on their Gaza peace plan. And some members are now pledging $7 billion to help. But all of this is being overshadowed by the possibility of war. Reporter Caroline Shively has the latest.
President Trump launching his Board of Peace in Washington Thursday with dozens of countries focused on rebuilding Gaza after its war with Israel.
An easy word to say, but a hard word to produce: peace.
The total cost to rebuild could reach $70 billion. Members are also expected to commit thousands of military members for a stabilization force. Some of the U.S.'s closest allies, including France and Germany, have not joined the board and instead renewed their support for the United Nations.
We are hearing the chattering class criticizing the structure of the board, that it's unconventional, that it's unprecedented. Again, the old ways were not working.
But while today's meeting focuses on ending one war, another may be brewing. It comes as the president has ordered a buildup of military assets in the Middle East to pressure Iran to give up its nuclear program. Iran, meanwhile, is holding military drills with Russia. When lawmakers return from recess next week, Congressman Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie plan to force a vote that would require Trump to get congressional approval for an attack on Iran. The assets now in place make it possible for an attack as early as this weekend.
More Iranian families are commemorating the 40-day anniversary of the massacre of thousands of protesters by the security forces. Many using rituals normally associated with weddings. If you want to understand why, listen to this father. Don't talk about death, he says. Just talk about happiness and life. Today my son Sepa became a groom. You ask me who is the bride? The name of the girl is Iran. This was Sepa's father 40 days ago. Where are you, my son? He calls out as he passes along the rows of bodies.
Sina and his family went to a square in Tehran and were chanting slogans. He and his friends went to the front of the crowd. They were chanting and they were happy. And then suddenly there was shooting. It's a great loss for my family.
Right now, internationally, there's a lot of focus on the negotiations between Iranian and American officials. What is it you want to see? A deal or US strikes on the regime?
The only way to save our people is with help from abroad, with the direct intervention of foreign countries. Our people can't do it alone.
But America's main focus is not the protesters. It's Iran's nuclear program. And for now, diplomatic efforts to reach a deal are continuing. More.
To President Trump, you've deployed a massive armada and have signaled unmistakably that brutality's time is ending. The Iranian people heard you say help is on the way, and they have faith in you. Help them, and history will record you alongside not just the Iranian nations, but the world's greatest heroes. For the defense of liberty is a perennial duty, a torch passed from one generation of leadership to the next. There is no greater power in the world than the solidarity of the leader of the free world with a people yearning to be free.
For that reason, they are for status quo and not for the changes. And also, do we have any communication with
The United States struck decisively at the shadow fleet and imposed crippling tariffs. Iranians seize and appreciate these actions. Yet, the hour demands more than diplomatic scolding, more than kabuki theater. It is time to end the Islamic Republic. This is the demand echoing from the bloodshed of my compatriots, who are not asking us to fix the regime, but to help them bury it.
From ZDF German television, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, President Trump said yesterday.
The importance of a strike to neutralize the regime forces of repression is the element that could get people back into the streets to continue their struggle. That's the element that pretty much is at stake right now, which is why Iranians in Iran and abroad are awaiting impatiently that this happens faster and sooner rather than delaying it. Because as I said, I don't think these negotiations will amount to anything. The regime is simply buying time yet again. But every day that goes by, more people could die. That's how important an intervention is to equalize the playing field for us.
Another sign that is developing very rapidly is the development of the mark of the beast system and technologies. As you see, the whole world is trending toward a digital currency. And the same is happening in the United States. They have now launched a US dollar one, USD1 coin that is promoted by the Trump family. World Liberty Financial, owned by the Trump family, looks to cash in big time with launch of their USD1 stable coin that they say will upgrade the dollar. There is nothing accidental about the timing of this. A Trump family-backed venture unveiling a dollar-pegged cryptocurrency called USD1 and branding it as an upgrade to the US dollar is not simply a fintech headline. It is a prophetic red flag, and Bible believers should not shrug this off as harmless innovation. This is not about modernizing money. It is about the accelerating the migration of financial control from physical, decentralized cash into programmable, trackable, controllable digital infrastructure. And once that infrastructure is normalized, it will not matter who built it. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. And you can see that everything with a digital currency is consistent with Revelation chapter 13, when the Antichrist will make everyone great and small, rich and poor, to take the mark of the beast in the forehead and in the right hand, so that whosoever did not take the mark will lose their ability to buy or sell. So this digital currency gives a great mechanism where one's ability to buy or sell, to do commerce, to buy groceries, to pay the rent can be cut off immediately. Let me share with you this very interesting footage about very coordinated robots that we have right now. This looks like it's from the Chinese New Year. As you know, this is the year of the horse. And you have these humanoid robots joining in this kung fu performance together with many young performers. And you see, these are very coordinated. You see, they are holding weapons, and many of their moves are deadly. And you see, when they perform with these young ones, if they make a mistake, it could be very deadly and lethal to these young kids. But you see, with the advanced artificial intelligence and robotics, that you don't see them making any mistakes. Revelation 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns, like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh the fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath a mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you make it to the end. Please make sure you like and comment and subscribe to this channel and turn in all the notifications. I hope that you are blessed by this video. Let me leave you with a blessing. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace.